I'm 42. Married for 14 years. One kid. A house that always smelled like coffee in the mornings and detergent on Sundays. I used to think that was what stability felt like, boring in a good way. My wife and I weren't perfect, but we were solid. Or at least I believed we were. We argued about money, about screen time for our son, about stupid stuff like whose turn it was to drive to soccer practice. Normal marriage problems. Nothing that felt like a warning sign. Nothing that made me think my life was quietly sliding towards something irreversible. Our son was 12 at the time. Smart kid, but his grades started slipping that year. Middle school hit him hard. Puberty, confidence issues, the whole thing. My wife took it seriously, maybe more seriously than I did. She was always the more hands-on parent, the one who emailed teachers and checked homework. When she told me she'd arranged extra help for him after school, I was relieved. She said one of his teachers had offered to stay late once or twice a week to help him get back on track. She framed it like a favor, like we were lucky. I remember saying, "That's great. Maybe this will take some pressure off you." Life kept moving. Dinner, homework, Netflix, bed. I didn't notice how often she checked her phone. I didn't question why she volunteered to pick him up every single time. I trusted her. Completely. That's the part that still messes with me the most. Nothing felt wrong yet. That's what scares me. At first, the tutoring thing seemed harmless. Responsible, even. My wife started structuring our afternoons around it. Tuesdays and Thursdays became fixed. She'd rush home from work, grab her keys and say, "I'll get him." Emphasize consistency. That was her word. Consistency. I noticed she stopped asking me to come along. Not that I wanted to hover outside a classroom, but still. It became her thing. Mother and son. I told myself that was healthy. She talked about the teacher casually. "Mr. H is patient. He really understands how kids think." Always professional, always framed around our son. I never questioned why she knew so much about his personality, his frustrations, his teaching philosophy. Looking back, there were tiny shifts. She dressed better on tutoring days. Not flashy, just intentional. Makeup she didn't wear to work. A different perfume. I noticed, but I didn't connect it to anything dark. I just thought maybe she was trying to feel like herself again. Our conversations got shorter. She seemed distracted, somewhere else. I told myself marriage ebbs and flows. I told myself not to be paranoid. I was proud of being the reasonable one. I ignored the quiet tightening in my chest. The phone was the first real red flag. She never used to guard it. We knew each other's passcodes. It was boring, like everything else. Then suddenly, it was always face down. Always within reach. If I walked into the room, she'd swipe out of whatever she was doing. When I asked who she was texting, she'd say, "One of the moms," or "School stuff." I believed her because it sounded logical. I didn't want to be the jealous husband. Our sex life changed too. Not in the dramatic way people talk about. It didn't disappear. It just felt detached. Like she was present physically but already gone emotionally. I blamed stress. She blamed stress. Easy excuse. One night, I asked if the tutoring was actually helping. She snapped back harder than necessary. "Do you want him to fail?" That shut me up fast. I felt guilty for even questioning it. I remember lying in bed afterward, staring at the ceiling, thinking something felt off but not knowing how to name it. I didn't push. I chose peace over clarity. That choice still haunts me. The moment that planted real doubt was stupidly small. A notification buzzed while she was in the shower. I wasn't snooping. It was just there. A message preview lit up her phone. "Today was intense. We need to be careful." No name. Just that. My stomach dropped. I stood there like an idiot, holding her phone, telling myself there had to be an innocent explanation. Maybe about a difficult student. Maybe about school politics. Anything. When she came out, I asked casually, "Everything okay at school?" She froze for half a second. Half a second too long. "Yeah." "Why?" "No reason." That was it. Nothing exploded. No confession. Just that tiny pause. But it changed everything. From that moment on, I wasn't relaxed anymore. I was alert. Watching. Listening. I hated myself for it. I didn't want to be suspicious. I wanted my old certainty back. But once doubt enters, it doesn't leave quietly. It digs in. That night, she turned away from me in bed. I lay there awake, replaying that message over and over, feeling like my life was quietly slipping out of alignment. I started noticing patterns. Tutoring sessions running longer. Traffic, delays that didn't make sense. Her mood swinging between energized and distant. She'd come home flushed, talkative, then suddenly withdrawn. Our son mentioned once, casually, "Mom stays and talks with Mr. H even after I'm done." He didn't mean anything by it. Kids never do. But it felt like a punch. I asked her about that. She laughed it off. "He's a teacher, not a robot. Adults talk." I wanted to believe her so badly. I told myself I was projecting. That this was my insecurity talking. That accusing her without proof would destroy everything. But the trust was already cracking. I checked our phone bill. Numbers I didn't recognize. Frequent late. When I asked, she said it was the school's system. I didn't push. Again. I felt stupid. Weak. Like I was watching my house slowly fill with water and convincing myself it was rain. I stopped sleeping well. I'd lie next to her, wondering who she was thinking about. Wondering when I stopped being enough. Wondering if I was imagining it all. The truth didn't come from some dramatic confrontation. It came from exhaustion. One afternoon, she forgot her laptop at home. I opened it to print something. Her email was still logged in. I wasn't proud of what I did next, but I didn't stop myself either. There it was. A thread. Not explicit, but intimate. Familiar. Full of inside jokes and, "I miss seeing you today," and, "We can't keep doing this, but I don't want to stop." I felt like I was reading someone else's life. Someone else's wife. One message said, "I hate lying to him." Another said, "I feel safe with you." Safe. That word destroyed me. I sat there shaking, heart pounding, brain screaming. I wanted to close it, pretend I hadn't seen it. But there was no going back. When she came home, I didn't yell. I just asked, "Are you sleeping with him?" She went pale. Then she cried. Then she nodded. I don't remember much after that. Just the sound of my own breathing, too loud, like I was drowning in my own living room. She said it started as emotional. That word makes me laugh now. A bitter, hollow laugh. She said they bonded over helping our son. That it felt natural. That she didn't plan for it to go that far. "It just happened," she said. Like gravity. Like weather. I asked her how long. She said, "A few months," then admitted it was longer. I asked where. She said, "Sometimes his classroom, sometimes his car. After school. While I was at work. While I thought my family was safe." I asked if she loved him. She hesitated. That hesitation hurt more than a yes. She kept saying she was sorry. That she never meant to hurt me. That she was confused. That she felt invisible at home. That she still loved me. I remember thinking, you don't do this to someone you love. I didn't scream. I didn't hit anything. I just felt empty. Like something essential had been removed from me without anesthesia. Our son was upstairs doing homework. I could hear his pencil scratching paper. That sound broke me. I told her to stop talking. I needed silence. I needed air. I needed my life back. That night, I slept on the couch. Or tried to. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw them together. I imagined classrooms after dark. I imagined her laugh, the one I thought was mine alone. She kept coming downstairs, crying, asking to talk. I told her to give me space. She said she was afraid. I didn't know how to comfort the person who broke me. The next day, I called in sick to work. I sat in my car for an hour, just staring. I didn't know where to go. Home didn't feel safe. Everywhere felt contaminated. I felt shame. Not just anger. Shame that this happened to me. That I didn't see it. That another man knew my wife in ways I didn't anymore. I kept thinking about our son. About how his struggles were used as a doorway into this mess. That part made me physically sick. When she told me the teacher had a family too, something snapped. This wasn't a mistake. This was a series of choices. Repeated, deliberate choices. I realized I wasn't just grieving my marriage. I was grieving the version of myself who believed in it. We talked for hours over the next few days. Or maybe argued. It blurred together. She minimized. Then admitted more. Then minimized again. She said they never planned to leave their families. That it was an escape. That word burned. I asked if she would stop seeing him. She said yes immediately. Too quickly. Like she'd rehearsed it. I asked how. She said she'd request a different teacher. That she'd block him. That she'd do anything. I wanted to believe her. But trust doesn't turn back on like a switch. She begged me not to tell anyone. Not yet. She said it would destroy our son. That it would ruin her. That it would be messy. I felt manipulated. Like my silence was being framed as love. I told her I needed time. She cried harder. She said I was abandoning her. That almost worked, almost. I realized how twisted things had become when I felt guilty for her affair. That was my wake-up call. I blamed myself in ways I still don't fully understand. For working too much. For being tired. For not noticing sooner. For trusting her. I replayed every argument we'd ever had, wondering if I pushed her toward him. I hated myself for that. But the thoughts came anyway. I also hated her. For risking everything. For lying so easily. For smiling at me while sleeping with someone else. Love doesn't disappear overnight. That's the cruelest part. I still missed her. Still wanted to reach for her in bed. Then I'd remember and feel disgusted with myself. I couldn't eat. I lost weight. People at work asked if I was okay. I said, just tired. Lying felt contagious. I kept thinking about the teacher. About whether he thought of me at all. About whether I was just an obstacle to him. The loss of control was unbearable. My life felt hijacked by other people's choices. I was trapped in a story I didn't consent to. We didn't tell our son the truth. We told him Mom and Dad were working through some things. He sensed it anyway. Kids always do. He became quieter. More anxious. His grades didn't improve. If anything, they got worse. I watched him interact with his mother and felt this painful mix of love and resentment. She was still his safe place. I didn't want to take that away from him. The school changed his teacher. Officially, it was a scheduling adjustment. I wondered who else knew. Who suspected. Who stayed silent. I couldn't walk past that school without feeling sick. I avoided it whenever I could. At night, I lay awake thinking about the kind of example we were setting. About what love looked like to him now. About whether he'd blame himself someday. That fear might be the deepest wound of all. We tried counseling. It was awkward and raw. She cried. I sat there numb. She said she wanted to rebuild trust. I asked how. She didn't really know. Neither did I. Some days felt almost normal. We laughed once, accidentally. That scared me more than the anger. Normality felt like betrayal of my own pain. Other days I couldn't look at her. Her touch made my skin crawl. The counselor asked if I could imagine forgiving her. I didn't answer. I didn't want to lie. I realized forgiveness wasn't just about her actions. It was about whether I could live with the person I'd become if I stayed. That question still doesn't have a clear answer. Eventually, I moved into the guest room permanently. Not as punishment. As survival. We became polite. Careful. Like roommates managing shared property. She asked if I still loved her. I said I didn't know. That was the truth. I started therapy alone. I needed somewhere I didn't have to be strong. Friends noticed the distance. I still didn't tell anyone. Carrying the secret felt heavy, but sharing it felt like dropping a bomb. Some nights, I wondered if staying was braver than leaving. Other nights, I felt like staying meant erasing myself. There was no dramatic ending. Just erosion. We're still married. On paper. Emotionally, it's complicated. Some days we function. Some days the past sits between us like a third person at the table. She says she's changed. Maybe she has. But I've changed too. Trust never fully came back. I don't know if it ever will. Our son is older now. He seems okay. But I worry about the cracks we can't see. I don't know if this is a temporary state or the rest of my life. I used to think betrayal was loud. Explosive. Obvious. Now I know it's quiet. Incremental. Hidden behind responsibility and good intentions. If I've learned anything, it's this: ignoring your instincts doesn't make you mature. It makes you vulnerable. I still love parts of her. I still grieve what we were. Some wounds don't close. They just scar over and ache when the weather changes. I don't know what the right ending looks like. I'm still living in the middle of it. If you're reading this and something feels off in your life, don't silence yourself like I did. That silence cost me everything I thought was certain.